Self-discipline. This podcast brought to you by Vnvest. Subscribe to our channel to unlock your full potential. Welcome to this episode where we'll be delving into the concept of self-discipline and its importance. Self-discipline is the ability to make healthy and productive choices, resist temptations, and act in your own best interests. It's a crucial skill that leads to success as it enables you to fully commit to your goals, develop good habits, and consistently work hard. Despite its significance, many people struggle with self-discipline due to our natural tendency to choose instant gratification over hard work and long-term rewards, even if it's not in our best interest. However, self-discipline is a skill that can be developed over time through practice and hard work. We'll also be discussing an alternative approach to self-discipline that involves minimizing temptations instead of relying on willpower. This approach may be particularly useful because recent research suggests that it's not always possible to teach lasting self-discipline skills. In the following sections, we'll discuss 4 main biological tendencies that make it challenging for us to practice self-discipline: craving consistency, overestimating our abilities, procrastinating, and setting unrealistic expectations. We'll examine how these tendencies manifest and offer strategies for overcoming them. So, if you're struggling with self-discipline and want to achieve your goals, be sure to tune in. Have you ever found yourself stuck in a routine, feeling hesitant to make a change even if it's for the better? This is a common struggle for many people, and it's due to our natural tendency to crave consistency. In this tendency, we resist change and desire to maintain a sense of stability in our lives, which can impede our ability to practice self-discipline and take necessary steps towards improvement. There are 3 reasons why we crave consistency: fear of loss, fear of failure and regret, and the comfort of familiarity. We fear losing something valuable, like a job or a sense of security, by making a change. We fear the potential consequences of failure and regret, which could arise from stepping outside of our comfort zones. And we find comfort in the familiar, which can make it difficult to take a leap of faith. To overcome this tendency, it's suggested performing a thought analysis exercise. When faced with an important decision, write down your options and the pros and cons of each. The next day, revisit your notes and consider which option will be most beneficial for you to reach your goals and improve yourself. By taking a step back and analyzing the situation rationally, you can make choices that align with your best interests rather than simply succumbing to your natural tendency towards consistency. Another tendency that can impact self-discipline is the Dunning-Kruger effect. This phenomenon occurs when people with low ability in a skill overestimate their ability in that skill. This can lead to neglecting to practice the ability, which is problematic since self-discipline is a skill that must be regularly practiced improving. For instance, someone who thinks they're an expert in self-discipline might leave work early as a reward for supposedly being so disciplined in hitting their work hours. However, they may have been rewarding themselves this way at least twice a week, indicating a lack of self-discipline. To avoid this tendency, it's suggested seeking feedback from others, especially those who are proficient at the skill you want to improve. This way, you can receive constructive criticism to help you avoid the Dunning-Kruger effect and improve your abilities. However, relying solely on feedback from others might not be enough to address the underlying issue of lacking self-awareness. To overcome this tendency in the long term, you need to learn to accurately judge your own abilities. To enhance your self-awareness and accurately assess your self-discipline skills, psychologists suggest practicing identifying your emotions and emotional triggers, as well as considering how your actions affect others to get a more objective perspective of your behavior. Next, we are going to explain how procrastination can weaken our ability to self-discipline. When we choose to procrastinate, we actively weaken our ability to make productive choices, and this habit can become more ingrained over time. This is problematic because self-discipline is a skill that requires practice to develop. As Neil E. Fiore outlines in his book, The Now Habit, procrastination leads to a cycle of avoidance that feeds itself. We dread work, procrastinate to avoid it, feel guilty about procrastinating, and then continue to avoid work to evade the dread and guilt it stirs up. There are 2 primary forms of procrastination. First, we might delay hard work in favor of something that provides instant gratification. Second, we might spend more time planning work than doing it, making us less likely to start. To resist the temptation to procrastinate, it's best to start working on a task as soon as possible after deciding to do it. This will ensure that you complete your work on time or even ahead of schedule, allowing for higher quality results. Additionally, avoid excessive planning and start doing the task when you're 70% sure you'll succeed. Perfection doesn't exist, so if you aim for perfection, you'll never get anything done. The next tendency we'll explore is setting unrealistic expectations. We often underestimate the time and effort required to achieve our goals, which sets us up for failure. When we fail to put in the necessary time and effort, we become discouraged and lose our self-discipline. Giving up on our goals is another form of temptation and instant gratification, which only strengthens those habits and weakens our ability to practice self-discipline. For example, let's say your goal is to learn how to knit, and you need to practice for 1 hour per day for 1 month to achieve it. Setting unrealistic expectations would be thinking that you only need to practice for a week or that practicing for only 2 hours a week for a month is enough to master the skill. Both scenarios will likely result in failure and discourage you from continuing to work towards your goal. To overcome this tendency, take the time to analyze your goals and the actions required to achieve them. Ensure that you're not engaging in self-sabotaging behaviors by setting unrealistic expectations. Ask yourself what a reasonable time frame is to complete your goal, what work you need to do to achieve it, and how often or when you need to do that work to reach your goal within the given time frame. Realistic analysis will increase your chances of success and preserve your self-discipline.